So I had an audition for a one-liner, and I'd never done a one-liner before.
They're
And it is
great.
exactly what you were saying. I thought like last week I did this like 5-page audition, just like words on words on words. I'm like, I got this. It's one line. I was woefully underprepared. Okay, that was the hardest audition I've ever done.
So
Literally
hard.
3 words. I forgot one of the 3 words. Okay, and I was like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy to me. And I still remember, and it was really crazy because he's like, okay, he's like, well, like, don't just say the words. He's like, due to this like scene, he's like, maybe like he was directing me through the audition. I'm like, this is just getting worse and worse and worse. Like, he was really trying to pull it all out of me. And I was just thinking in my head, like, I'm just gonna go. Like, I just want to go home.
Wait, was this an in-person audition?
No, I was in Zoom, but I wanted to go home. Like, that was my.
I just wanna end the room.
Yeah, I wanted to take my weighted blanket and just like cover myself in it and just give myself a hug. I was like, this is so bad. I'm never going to be seen by them ever again. Like,
Oh,
this
that's
is
the
the worst.
worst. Oh, I hate when it's a redirect and then you just kind of keep making it worse because you're not understanding what they're saying. And then it's so funny because I go, well, why don't I just ask to clarify the redirect? Why
Yeah.
don't we just have a conversation? I know I'm not giving you what you want, but then it's like, actor Robin, oh man, you're failing, you suck. You're not going to get this. Why are you even doing this? I'm like, okay, let's just kind of take a breath, calm down. And let's have a conversation. Let's collaborate. Okay, you want this. I wish I could be that person when it comes to the Zoom because it's very unsuccessful.
I think that's the problem, is that actors kind of sometimes go into auditions where it's like you just feel lucky to be there, or you feel like
Oh
you're
yeah,
asking for something.
sucks.
Like, I want them to pick me. And that energy kind of translates into you not being able to talk to them like colleague to colleague. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if actors realize, like, without an actor, they can't make their project, right? So it's like you need to think of yourselves like, yeah, you are applying for a job, but at the same time, it's not like you're begging for something. You're giving them your craft, you're giving them your audition, and that will potentially help them make their project. So I, once I started thinking of it more that way, I felt a lot more confidence in my
Yeah.
auditions, where it's like we're both helping each other. Like, we're both, in there to get to our goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask them for an explanation or clarification on a redirect, then it's also helping them, because now they can see they're not wasting their time with you as an actor. They can see that you can actually do it, and you're somebody that they could work with potentially.
Well, it's also you're listening, right? Instead of
Mhm.
just kind of nodding and go, yeah, okay, I got that. You're just clarifying that this is what they want, right?
Mhm.
And okay, cool. So they're actually, instead of just nodding, yeah, I got this. Oh crap, what is it? I don't understand what it means. Let me just pull something out of a hat and just figure out if that's what they want.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh. But you know what? One of the most powerful things that you said when you were introducing yourself, I have weird memory, but you're like, I can't remember how you phrased it, but you're essentially like, there's no one like me on screen. And I think your mom said, you're going to be that role model for younger generations. I'm like, oh, I need her on my podcast. Oh my God, I'm dying on the inside. It was so beautiful. And oh, anyways, it was powerful. I love that. And I see that for you.
Thank you. For those who are watching who don't know, I am half Tibetan. So, I mean, that's the funny thing about, like, or that's one of the things that has really pushed me and motivated me, is that, you have more and more Asians on screen. And back in the day, we did have Jackie Chan and like Jet Li, Bruce Lee, like stuff like that. But you had a lot of Chinese actors and more Korean actors, but there was never a Tibetan actor. There was the movie 7 Years in Tibet, but that actress actually stopped working in acting shortly thereafter. So, hi, Asupam. And so it was always disheartening because I actually know this guy in Toronto and he really wanted to, or he still does, he's older, but he really wanted to be an actor. And he's like, but you don't see Tibetans on screen. And he's like, so like, what's the point of trying really? Because, you know, we're not there. We're not sought out, right? You never see a casting call where it's, you know, they can say Asian or we're looking for Chinese or Korean descent. Never, ever do you see, except for recently, there was that casting call for like a Tibetan actor and everybody was like sending it to me. They're like, you're the only Tibetan actor that I know.
That was so funny. It was Larissa Mair or something, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, cool. It has to be Simone. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was the right age. So.
Well, like everybody was
cast her in something. This is her. Okay.
But I actually found it pretty sad because so many people were sending it to me and they were literally saying, you're the only Tibetan actor that I know. And I just thought, I don't want it to be that way. Like that's sad to me, that because like if you see a casting call for a Chinese person, it's like, oh, I know this guy, I know that guy, I know this girl, you know, I know all these people. But when it comes to Tibetans, it's like, yes, we are fewer in numbers, but especially in a place like Canada, there are actually so many of us. And especially like Toronto's where a lot of filming happens, and there's a huge Tibetan community in Toronto. And so I feel like we had, growing up especially, a lot of people that we felt were like Tibetan adjacent. So we have people like Richard Gere, who's like this white actor, but he's a Tibetan Buddhist, and he's like very involved in the Tibetan community and in the Buddhist community. And so we're like, that's our guy in Hollywood. Like, we love Richard Gere. He's our like honorary Tibetan. But it's like, it's still not a Tibetan on screen, and it's just so sad. And like but once I saw that Larissa Mair casting call, I was like, hopefully this is the first of many. Like that's what I'm hoping. So yeah.
I don't even remember. I thought it was a comedy series or something. I can't recall though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I think it was a comedy series. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even. That's exciting to see.
Yes.
Because it'll bring all the actors out of the woodwork, and you go, oh, this is my tribe.
Yeah, and especially because she she posted it publicly, so you probably had a lot of people who possibly weren't even traditional actors. Maybe they just saw it and they're like, oh, I have a Tibetan friend, you know, maybe they'll audition for this or something like that. So
giving people opportunities.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because you never know, right? I don't know if you heard the Miss Marvel.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And so essentially how she got it, I think her aunt sent it in a WhatsApp message. Hey, you should audition for this. And I still watched her on Trevor Noah, and she literally waited till the night before. I think it was 3 a.m. She wasn't going to do it. And then she just kind of films it, whatever. No one's going to watch it. And then she gets the role for this huge movie. She's not, and that's why it's so interesting. People that maybe don't feel like they can act or don't feel like they're good enough or don't deserve to be on camera because they've never seen themselves. It goes, well, no, now why not? Now's my opportunity. Let's just kind of do it. And I think that I'm just so excited to see you encourage future generation of Tibetan actors. I'm so excited for this journey. Like your first actor credit, no big deal, whatever. It's happening. It's happening.
I'm very excited too. But like something else that I thought about is because there's this casting director on Instagram, and obviously she exists outside of Instagram, but I saw it on Instagram, and she posted something about Asian representation, and she was like, you have a lot of casting directors who cast people who have the least amount of Asian in them, but they're just passing enough for it to be you know, kind of like an Asian hire. And so that's something that I think about a lot, especially because I'm half Tibetan, so I'm not even like full Tibetan. So I think sometimes like if I were to get a role where they're looking for somebody who's fully Tibetan, it's like, would I be able to do justice for that, or like, would it be fair? And I know that culturally and everything, you grow up so heavily influenced by the Tibetan culture. And, you know, my mother's Tibetan, and, you know, we speak it at home. and my uncles and everything, and like I've lived over there, so not in Tibet but in Asian countries with them, and so that was probably the predominant influence on my life culturally, as well as the Indian culture, because my mother was actually born in India. But I I do struggle with that sometimes, where I think, like, am I, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, especially when I go into auditions where they're like, we're looking for somebody who's, white. And I'm like, well, I'm half white. So do I, fit in there? They're like, we're looking for somebody who's Asian. And I'm like, well, white people see me as Asian, and some Asian people see me as white. So it's like, I don't really know where I fit in, right? So it's something that I personally struggle with, where I see myself one way, but then you also have to take into account how other people see you as well. And yeah, but it varies so much from person to person, where possibly I could probably tell myself at the end of the day, like, does it really matter, because everybody will have a different opinion on if it's acceptable or not. But I do feel, I would feel guilty, I think, if a bunch of people audition for a role where they're like, we want somebody who's like fully this, and I'm like, I'm half of that. And it's like, did they just hire me because I look half, right? Like,
Ooh,
I don't know.
it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh.